The woman broke the hacksaw into pieces and buried them inside ground beef, then froze the package overnight. The next day at work, she had it delivered to Jack through a guard who was friendly with the inmates. Jack unwrapped the package right in front of the guard. Seeing it was just a box of beef, the guard left satisfied. Jack then thawed the meat with water, retrieved the hidden hacksaw pieces, and began his escape plan. He broke up an entire box of matches and wrapped them tightly in toilet paper. Moving quickly to the common area, he passed the combustible bundle to his accomplice. When the guards weren't looking, his partner quietly set fire to the cell next to Jack's. The flames spread quickly. As alarms blared, guards rushed in to extinguish the fire. The smoke-blackened walls would need repainting, exactly what Jack had hoped for. Jack handed the hacksaw to David, who began preparing their escape tools. David wrapped cloth strips around both ends of the saw blade, then used rubber bands to attach nail clippers to create makeshift handles. After wrapping everything in another layer of cloth, they had 2 functional cutting tools. He passed one to Jack. They immediately started sawing through the ventilation pipes. Using magnets, they meticulously collected every metal filing and flushed them down the toilet. Even without being detected, the constant guard patrol significantly hampered their progress. To speed things up, David pretended to paint while acting as lookout. The moment a guard approached, he'd signal Jack. Working this way, they managed to cut through the vent in just 2 weeks. To avoid detection, Jack taped over the cut and painted it to match. Once dry, it was invisible. At night, they fashioned a dummy from clothes and, after checking it was safe with a mirror, opened the vent and carefully crawled inside. They descended all the way to the bottom and followed the pipes, but after what seemed like forever, there was still no end in sight. Jack suggested they split up to scout. Once back on the surface, they'd carefully map out where they'd reached the night before. The next night, they resumed their search for an exit. This time, David ventured deeper and, more importantly, could see the prison's outer wall. The problem was a brick wall blocking their path. David didn't panic. He pulled out a sledgehammer he'd prepared and started breaking through. Days turned into weeks, and they finally reached the prison's outer wall. But this barrier was over 6 feet of reinforced concrete. Using their current method, it would take at least 5 years to break through.